The NCAA men's tournament bracket is all set, and we are finally underway in March Madness. Matt, I got a very simple question for you. What are your first impressions of the bracket?
I mean, my first impressions are that the committee got it pretty much right. I have no big grievances with where anybody was seated, who the number ones were in some of those situations. Right off the top of my head, one thing I do feel bad for is I feel bad for Ohio State because they got to play Loyola, who looks really good. But one thing I'm super excited about is this Midwest region. Not only does Wisconsin play in Milwaukee, so that's going to be fun for, all the Badger fans, but there's also these possible amazing matchups of some of the top players in the country, whether it's Keegan Murray versus Ochai Agbaji in the Sweet 16, Iowa versus Kansas, or Jabari Smith versus Johnny Davis in the Sweet 16, Auburn versus Wisconsin. And then I really think that it could be Johnny Davis versus Ochai Agbaji in the Elite Eight. So you have these premier matchups for March Madness, which is going to be just so exciting.
100%. The individual matchups are going to be something to watch for sure, but there are some team matchups, particularly in that East region, which I believe is just absolutely stacked. I can see each of the 4 seeds in that East region being Baylor, Kentucky, Purdue, UCLA. I can see each of those 4 teams. It wouldn't surprise me if any of those 4 teams made the Final Four. Baylor is the number 1 seed in that East region, and it looks like they'll get UCLA in the Sweet 16 if the seeds hold, which would just be a hell of a matchup. Obviously, Baylor is defending champions, but I actually like the Bruins in that potential matchup. They have the experience of being in the Final Four last year. Johnny Juzang, Jamie Jaquez are both buckets, especially down the stretch. Again, they have the experience. Tiger Campbell at point guard, so that's an exciting matchup, and I like UCLA to advance. If that matchup exists, another juicy matchup just in that East region, possibly, again, if the seeds hold, would be a 2-3 matchup between Kentucky and Purdue. How awesome would that be? Obviously, Jaden Ivey is one of the best players in the country, a legit future NBA lottery pick. And on the other side, Kentucky, to me, is one of the deepest teams in the country. I said that a couple weeks ago. And along with being one of the deepest teams in the country, they have arguably the national player of the year in Oscar Tshiebwe. Ty Washington is also one of my favorite players in the country. So Kentucky, Purdue. I like Kentucky in that matchup if that comes to it. But again, those are just 4 awesome teams. But
I would like to see how Tshiebwe, who's one of the best rebounders in this country right now, and one of the reasons why he is a favorite to win National Player of the Year, how he does against Edey, is going 7-5. I'd like to see that box out matchup. That would be so exciting. And then we talked about in production, UCLA, one of the most exciting things about their Final Four run last year is that they had 2 guys in Juzang and Jaquez who just could go down and get you a bucket. And that's the same this year, and that's why, they're going to be one of those favorites. So you're absolutely right. That East is going to be exciting with the possible matchups.
100%. And again, talking about that, UCLA and Kentucky and a potential Elite 8 2 matchups, or a matchup of 2 blue bloods would just be just exciting as hell. So I can't wait to see how that East region shakes up, but the whole bracket as a whole, no matter what region you look at, individual matchups, team matchups, this is certainly going to be a March full of madness, and we, for 2 people, can't wait to see it unfold. But that's going to do it for us. For Scott Procter and Matt Morris, we'll catch you later this week.